Good evening and welcome to my How Healthy Are You weekly conference call. My name is Dr. Thomas Brewer. I'm a PhD chemist. And for today's call, we had mentioned last week I was going to talk about hormonal imbalance, especially as it relates to women. And this is a very complicated topic, and there really isn't an easy answer. So I'm going to go through some basics and then answer any more questions as best as I can. So normally when women suspect they have hormonal imbalance, usually it will have some relationship to their menstrual cycle, whether they're having one or not, and the pain involved. Now, other things that can happen to, that hormonal imbalance is actually the culprit, would be osteoporosis, well-known hot flashes during menopause, acne, an inability to deal with stress. Another one is visceral body fat. This is the fat you really don't want. This is the fat near your organs that causes a lot of trouble, not the fat near your skin that you can pinch. So you can have a lot of visceral fat and not realize it. And then finally, even skin itching, and general skin type problems. Now, a lot of these symptoms can be due to other factors, and it's so tricky with the human body to figure out the actual cause of a problem. And that's why the most obvious one has something to do with menstrual cycles. Now, these are some ways to naturally balance your hormones. And a lot of these you probably already know, and hopefully some of these you don't know. So to balance hormones, basically you've got to have a decent diet. You've got to eat enough protein. You've got to eat the right kind of carbohydrate. So these are the low glycemic index carbohydrates. I have a video out on this. The link was in a previous newsletter, but you can find it on YouTube. It's under Dr. Thomas Brewer, and it's called The Carbohydrate Hierarchy. And I also talk a little bit about healthy fats, which is another issue for balancing hormones, meaning you must eat the right proteins, the right carbohydrates, and the right fats, in addition to getting a decent amount of exercise. Well, let's say you're doing all that and you still got hormonal imbalance, and eating right and getting some exercise is minimal. It's going to have a minimal effect for some people. So some other things to eat and try would be, first, green tea, and numerous health benefits to green teas, and it will allow your body to make the hormones that you're deficient in, because that's what hormonal imbalance is. You're either not making enough of one or making too much of another hormone. Another thing that allows the body to balance hormones are the fatty fishes. So this would be like mackerel and even salmon. These fishes are high in omega-3 fatty acids. If you don't want to eat fish, just take a pharmaceutical purity omega-3 fatty acid supplement, but it will help the hormones, and that's something to do every day, whether you eat the fish every day or take the omega-3 supplement every day. It is very important. It's a big component in balancing hormones. Now, on to the vitamins. Vitamin D is important. If you're out in the sun just a little bit, you're going to be fine. But if you're not, that's going to be a vitamin to supplement. Vitamin D deficiency almost always leads to hormonal imbalance. So that could be a culprit. And if you're not in the sun that much and you're not eating a lot of vitamin D-rich foods, like mushrooms, I recommend supplementing. It's one of those vitamins that most people need to supplement unless they're outside a lot. Now, women with PMS typically need vitamin B6, B as in boy, B6. Menopause problems start with vitamin E, and that would be something to supplement. People with stress problems, like I mentioned in the beginning, inability to deal with stress, start with vitamin B3, which is known as niacin, for stress reduction. So that should put you a step in the right direction. Now on to the foods. So usually as women get into menopause, their estrogen levels drop. And so foods that would tend to increase estrogen levels, and this is really controversial, but one is flax seeds, another one is avocado, and a third is broccoli. But some scientists say soy is good, and some scientists say avoid soy. So soy is a dilemma. I tend to say err on the side of caution, and so I recommend avoiding soy if you have hormonal imbalance, and even if you don't have hormonal imbalance. I'm not a big fan of soy. Okay, on to the teas. So there are 3 really good teas that help with hormonal imbalance. One is called red clover. Another one is called Vitex, V-I-T-E-X. And a third is called Yarrow, Y-A-R-R-O-W. I have no familiarity with these teas, but I'm sure you can get them in vitamin stores. So, as I said in the beginning, I'm not really an expert on hormones. I'm not an endocrinologist who would be an expert, and it is a tricky subject. And it's very difficult to balance your hormones when you're not healthy. And that's why a person like me is going to focus on eating right and exercising right, getting enough nutrition, and perhaps taking a few supplements here and there so that you put the body in a state where it can make the necessary hormones you're deficient in. Now on to some bad foods. Well, milk tends to disrupt our hormones. Soy, of course, I already mentioned that. And then the bad carbs like sugar also do that. Coffee is a little bit on the bubble. What I recommend with coffee is don't drink too much coffee. If you're drinking more than 3 cups of coffee a day, and a cup is 6 ounces, not a big mug, not a 12-ounce mug, that counts as 2 cups. I would cut back on it if you're experiencing hormonal imbalance. Coffee has a lot of benefits, but like all sorts of things, too much is not good. So that's what I have for hormonal imbalance for women. And hopefully it was enough information for those of you seeking more knowledge. I'm going to open up the call to questions now. So now is the time to ask a question. We have a lot of people on the call, but that's all right. Any health-related questions or questions on hormones? I guess not. All right. Well, you're letting me get off easy this week. So I will be doing another conference call next Monday. Until then, I wish everyone a happy and healthy evening. Good night, everybody.